we are going to start talking about lists in Snap or BYOB. Lists are a data structure, and other computer languages have the same thing, and usually they're called array lists or perhaps just arrays. But in Snap, they are called lists. So I'm going to make a list, and I think it's pretty obvious what this thing is. So I'm going to make a list maybe of food items. I'll call it foods. And you can see that it appears on the screen. It's an empty list right now. I can display it on the screen, or I can hide it just by checking the checkbox. So I'm going to add a couple of items to foods. And you can see these operators on lists underneath it. I can add something, I can delete something, I can insert something, I can replace something, I can get a particular item number in the list, I can get the length of the list, or I can tell it whether the list contains something, or I can say it as text. Those are really the commands that you're going to be using in lists. So we can go over them one at a time, and most of them are pretty common sense. So first, maybe I'll add a few things to my list of foods. I have to add pizza, of course, and maybe I'll add a couple other things. Let's add cookies, and let's add apples. Gotta have some healthy items there. And let's add grapes. Okay, so if I run this, you can see that I've added 4 items. I can bring this down a little bit. I've added 4 items to my list of foods. Expand this a little bit. Pizza, cookies, apples, grapes. Every time I say add, it just adds it to the end. And actually, if I ran this again, I'll run it again. It adds those same 4 items again at the end of the list. So I think it's pretty obvious what add does. Delete, obviously, deletes items from my list. Again, this is my list of foods. You could have more than one list, of course, but I just have this one list called foods. So I could delete item number 1, that deletes pizza. I could delete any item I like. I could delete the last item if I want. I can delete all items. Let's delete all items. Deletes everybody in the list. So let's make my list again. I could delete a specific number. I could delete, for example, item number 2, cookies. I don't know why I would want to do that, but I've deleted cookies. Okay, great. I can insert things into my list. Let's insert, instead of cookies, let's do peanuts. I'm going to insert peanuts at position, whatever position I like. I'm going to put it at position 2, and you can see it ends up at position 2 and pushes everybody else down the list. I can replace items in the list. Perhaps I'll replace item number 3, which is apples. I'll replace it with noodles. And you can see when I run that, apples becomes noodles. I can use these reporter blocks here. This will tell me a particular item in a list. Item number 1 of the list is pizza. I could ask for the last item. I could ask for any item. Oops, there is no item 0 there. I could ask for any item. And that just gives me a random item. Pizza. I think it gives me, oh, noodles, there we go. I could ask for a specific item number, for example, item number 3. And that returns noodles. I could get the length of the list, which of course is 4 in this case. I could run this Boolean command or predicate, which tells me whether the list contains something or not. So does the list contain pizza? True. Does the list contain crackers? False. This last one will return the entire list as one line. So if I run this, it returns the entire list written out as one line of text, one string, text string like that. So these are the list commands that you should be familiar with, and really you should play around with them a little bit to make sure you understand what they do. In the next video, we're going to do some more complicated things with lists.